Family, there is a serious storm brewing in Niger and the government is officially on high alert. Welcome back to Afro Pulse Media, where we do not chase panic, we analyze power. We do not amplify rumors. We dissect strategy, and what is unfolding in the Sahel right now demands serious attention. To our loyal subscribers, thank you for your love and your support. We really do appreciate it. My people, there are moments when a nation pauses, not out of fear, but out of vigilance. Moments when a government looks beyond the noise, beyond the headlines, and says something is moving beneath the surface. And when that happens, armies do not sleep. They prepare. Niger has placed its national armed forces on high alert, not partial alert, not regional mobilization. National retired officers contacted, security units reinforced, strategic infrastructure under tighter protection. Why? Because signals have emerged suggesting an attempt to shake the foundation of the state. And this is not just happening in isolation. It is connected to a broader shift across the Sahel. A shift that has withdrawn alliances, disrupted economic pipelines, and challenged long-standing foreign influence. Stay with me, because this is not just a security update. This is a warning shot in geopolitical chess game that is far from over. A week before Niger elevated its military posture, something significant occurred. Russian Foreign Intelligence Service released information suggesting that France was allegedly coordinating with certain actors in Africa to undermine the stability of Sahelian states, specifically Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Now pause. Intelligence announcements are never casual. They are rarely random. They are strategic communications. When a state intelligence agency publicly signals that destabilization efforts are on the way, it is not doing so for drama. It is doing so to frame a narrative, to issue a warning, to shift diplomatic positioning. So here is the first layer. Why would such a warning be issued now? And why are Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso specifically mentioned? Because both nations alongside Mali have taken decisive steps in recent years. Steps that alter their security alliances and redefine control over natural resources. And when you alter control over resources, you alter leverage. When you alter leverage, you disrupt interest. And when you disrupt interest, reactions follow. Then came the attack at an airport in Niger's capital, Niamey. Niamey is not just any location. It is the political nerve center, the logistical gateway, the symbol of state authority. An airport is more than a runway. It is sovereignty in motion. Reports indicate that during the assault, more than 20 armed fighters were neutralized. Several others were captured alive. And when those captured were interrogated, information began to surface. Confessions, networks, operational details, allegations of coordinations. Authority claimed that the statements point towards an effort to destabilize Niger internally using insurgents embedded within its own borders. Now think carefully. Internal destabilization is the most dangerous type of threat because it hides among citizens. It moves quietly. It fractures trust. It erodes stability from within. And according to officials, the intelligence gathered after the airport attack suggested that this was not an isolated incident, but part of something broader. That is when Niger raised its security posture. When a country places all armed forces on high alert, that is not symbolic. It means readiness. It means mobilization protocols activated. It means reserve lists updated. In Niger's case, even retired personnel were contacted and informed that in the event of national emergency, they could be called into service. Let that sink in. Retired officers called back into readiness. That level of mobilization reflects seriousness. It signals that authorities believe that the threat is credible, not hypothetical, credible. Imagine what must be happening behind closed doors for a state to activate that kind of preparedness. It means intelligence assessments are pointing towards risk. It means strategic planners are mapping contingencies. It means the state is saying, we will not be caught unprepared. Now, move deeper. Why would Niger face destabilization pressure now? Let's look at context. Niger is one of the world's key producers of uranium. So, for decades, foreign companies have operated in its mining sector. Among them, the French nuclear fuel company Orano, formerly known as Areva. Uranium is not decorative. It's power nuclear reactor. It fuels energy grids. It shapes geopolitical influence. And when Sahelian states begin asserting tighter control over resources, extraction agreements insisting on renegotiation, greater sovereignty, and revised partnerships, it changed the equation. Now, here's the question for you. When a nation says it wants more control over its own raw materials, who gains? Right? And who loses leverage? Be honest. Economic sovereignty is not just economic. It is political. It is strategic. It is power. And when power shifts, frictions follow. In recent years, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have drawn closer. They formed what is known as the Alliance of Sahel States. Alliance of Sahel States. This bloc represents collective security cooperation and shared resistance to external interference. It signals a regional pivot. It says, we stand together. But unity also attracts scrutiny. When three countries coordinate different strategies and re-evaluate foreign partnerships simultaneously, external actors watch carefully. Some adjust diplomatically, others push back. And that is where this situation becomes layered. Because the Sahel is not just fighting insurgency, it is navigating global power competition. Let's examine the intelligence dimension. Authorities claim that confessions from captured fighters indicated coordination beyond spontaneous territory activity. So, if true, that suggests something organized, something funded, something directed. But here's the complexity. In geopolitics, accusations are tools, right? Intelligence leaks are tools. Narratives are tools. So we must analyze carefully. Is this purely an insurgency issue? Is it external interference? Or is it both? Or is it a larger struggle over influence in West Africa? At Afro Pulse Media, we do not jump into conclusions. We examine patterns, and the pattern here shows rising resource nationalism, withdrawal of certain foreign military forces, entry of new security partnerships, intelligence warnings, coordinated attacks. That combination is not random. Niger's decision to raise national alert reflects a new doctrine. Preemptive vigilance instead of reacting after damage spreads. Authorities are signaling readiness before escalation. That is strategic evolution. It shows lessons learned from neighboring states. Because once destabilization spreads, reversing it is costly. Very, very costly, and Niger appears determined to avoid that trajectory. Now I ask you, do you see this as strength, or do you see it as a sign of rising tension? Let your voice be heard in the comments. France has had a long-standing presence in the Sahel military and economically. Operations such as Operation Barkhane shaped counter-terror strategies for years. But relations have shifted dramatically. French troops withdrew from Mali, later from Burkina Faso, and tensions escalated in Niger. So, when partnerships unravel, trust fractures. And when trust fractures, suspicion grows. Now combine that with intelligence warnings of alleged coordinations to destabilize Sahelian states. Even if accusations are contested, the atmosphere becomes tense. Diplomacy cools, security tightens, and the people are left asking who benefits from instability. Behind strategy and politics are citizens, airport workers, taxi drivers, students, families. An airport attack is not abstract. It disrupts livelihood. It creates fear. It slows commerce. And high alert status means communities feel the tension. Checkpoints increase. Military patrols intensify. Movements become monitored. Placing all forces on alert, Niger is sending a message. We are prepared. Not only to insurgents, but to anyone contemplating interference. That message extends beyond borders because Burkina Faso and Mali are watching closely. The Sahel bloc is interconnected. An attack in one reverberates in all. And collective defense doctrine means instability in Niger becomes regional concern. Let's not ignore another battlefield. Information. In modern geopolitics, perception is power. Who controls the narrative? Who frames events? Who defines aggression versus defense? When intelligence agencies release statements, they are shaping global perception. When governments raise alerts, they are signaling seriousness. When media outlets analyze events, they influence interpretation. That is why platforms like Afro Pulse Media matter, because analysis must go beyond surface drama. The critical question is sustainability. Will further attacks occur? Will diplomatic engagement reduce tensions? Will new alliances strengthen deterrence? Or will the Sahel face prolonged pressure? These questions are not theoretical. They define the region's trajectory. The Sahel stands at a crossroads, right? Niger's decision to mobilize fully reflects a government that believes threats are real. Whether those threats stem from insurgent networks, external manipulation, or both, one reality is clear. The region is no longer passive. It is alert. It is recalibrating. It is redefining. It is sovereignty in real time. And history shows something important. Nations that prepare early survive longer. But preparations must be matched with diplomacy, with strategy, with unity. Moments like this remind us that Africa's story is not simple. It is layered, strategic, intense, and constantly evolving. Here at Afro Pulse Media, we will continue to track every shift, every alliance, every escalation, and every resolution. If you believe Africa deserves fearless analysis, not filtered narratives, if you want deeper geopolitical breakdowns that respect intelligence and complexity, then stand with us. Stand with this platform. Subscribe. Share this video. Drop your perspective below respectfully. Do you see Niger's move as defensive necessity or raising confrontations? Your engagement shapes this community because this is more than a channel. It is a pulse. And the pulse of the Sahel is beating. loud, very loud. Stay informed, stay critical, stay united, and I will see you in the next in-depth breakdown right here on Afro Pulse Media.